All right, we're back with day 5 of VINCI CORE. Today, we're going to be talking about ingenuity, and again, that's the 5th core value in VINCI CORE. We already went over Vinci, integrity, nurture, and competency, and today, again, we're going to be talking about ingenuity. Before I actually give the definition that we have for ingenuity, I actually just hopped off of a call with Wissam, where we talked a lot about adaptability, which is one of the core tenets of ingenuity. And it actually relates a lot with what I wanted to talk today. So let me get back to that in a bit. But first, the definition of ingenuity: envision new possibilities, embrace curiosity, and again, be adaptable. So when people think of ingenuity, it's the allowing yourself to create an environment of action and innovation. So constantly thinking for yourself and not doing what you're doing just because that's how it's done and how it's been done, but actually thinking of why you're doing it and the why behind your actions. When you can do that, it opens the doors to, again, envision new possibilities. So when you actually do what you do because you know, when you know the reasoning behind what you do, it makes it so much easier to take that reasoning and use it to find an action that will accomplish what you set out to do in a more effective or more potent way. So again, understand why you're doing it. Don't just say it's because that's how we've always done it or that's because what everyone else does. Really understand why you do what you do. And if you can take that first step, it'll open the doors of creativity and ingenuity. Another aspect of it is to be open-minded. There's a lot of times where Jack and I will have different ideas or views on how we should attack a certain problem or what actions we should take in a certain situation. It's very important, and something we've had to learn in the past year of doing business together. There were a lot of times, I think, in the earlier phases where we might have disagreed on something and our egos might have gotten in the way, where even if one of us agrees with the other, and I can't think of a specific example now, but I'm sure I've done this, and if you ask him, he'll probably say the same, where we want to be right because we want to be right, not because we actually think it's the right move to take. I think there's a sense of maturity that comes with, one, just getting older, but two, being in business for an extended period of time and an extended period of time with a certain person that really allows you to understand that ego or that pride that gets in the way is exactly what it is. It gets in the way. So understanding that the best idea comes from that discussion, and whether it's from you or from someone else, it's just as valuable, and it should not be berated by your pride. So I say that to say, just keep open-mindedness as a core tenet when you're talking about big problems, even small ones. But it also often comes away in times where your sense of self feels attacked, when something you truly believe in turns out maybe it's not the best way to do. So it's in those times where you want to really check yourself and see if it's a thing of pride, and if so, let it out, let it go. Or if it's really what you think the best route is, then explain it further and allow the other people to understand, and then go from there. Lastly is the fact that you should always be adaptable. Ingenuity is created through creativity, and creativity stems from adaptability. For example, problems arise when the awareness of a situation occurs. So let's say, I don't know, shoes. Shoes were created because of feet. And I mean, people used to walk barefoot. They used to be fine. But it got to a point where people didn't want the pain, or they felt they could protect themselves further with shoes, and they could prevent disease or fatal injuries or things that will prevent them to doing things. Like you get a cut on your foot and you can't hunt the next day. So I don't know. Don't ask me when shoes were created. I won't be able to tell you. I'm a dropout. But they were created out of necessity, and the ingenuity it took to create it was built off of the awareness of that necessity and that something was needed. So again, going back to adaptability, that is needed as constant change allows for constant failure, which, as we discussed last time, leads to success eventually, because failure are steps to success and not the other way around, where it's, oh, you fail, you're done. No, it's you fail, awesome, next, fail again, fail again, fail again, fail again, succeed. Actually, let's do fail again times 1,000 and then maybe succeed. But so again, I was on the phone call today with Wissam, and I just got off of it before this video. And what we talked about was very relating to the adaptability part of ingenuity, where we were discussing something that we're facing right now in our business. We have been facing for a couple weeks, and we probably will be facing it for a few more weeks to come. And actually, we've been facing this since we started back in January of 2024. So it's understanding the difference between adaptability or evolution and shiny object syndrome. A little bit about us in the past year. We started out as, this is crazy. Kind of like you can call it SMMA, social media marketing agency, but really we're web development, SEO, and marketing. Had a few web development clients, had a few SEO clients, and then we went to try to do a niche of real estate, roofers, contractors, tried to do website development again, and then we tried doing social media or Google ads, and then didn't work. It worked, but shiny object or adaptability, whatever you want to say. Next step, we went into wholesaling real estate, and now we're not shifting, we're doing both, but there's the software aspect of it that kind of stemmed from the real estate world. So again, a lot of jumping from place to place, but looking back, it was a form of evolution and adapting to what worked and what would allow us to grow, and less so of shiny object syndrome, where we were jumping from thing to thing. And so here's a analogy that, I don't know if you call it an analogy, but success occurs when you're 100% in. If you're 98% in, that 2% is where all the success happens. So you have learned from that 98%, but there is no outcome. And that's a lot of times people quit earlier, but a lot of times people go 98% and be like, oh, I'm all the way here. What is 2% going to change? But it's that 2% of effort, of focus, of time at the end that compounds all the work that you put in before, and the gains are exponential from there. It's like, if you think of an exponential graph, it goes this, boom, all the way here. So if you think about it, 0 to 98% is this part right here. And then 98 to 100% is this part right here. So your whole time in business is right here until the very end, when that spark hits and the work compounds and the fruits of your labor show. So with that being said, going back to understanding whether our situation is adaptability or if it's shiny object syndrome, we were adapting to what works, and a big part of that is learning before you can earn. Last year was 100% a learning year. This year is probably going to be the same, and might even be next year, but never know. So it's never going to be, you're not always going to have earning years. And when I say earning years, I mean monetary growth and success versus growth of skills and your person. As time goes on, you can have both and they can compound. So like your learning year, my learning year this year versus my learning year as a 45-year-old are going to be different worlds, but it's the same concept of some years you're doing what you do to grow, and some years you're doing what you do to gain. With that being said, with us jumping from thing to thing, it's really it feels like stepping stones, and like a stepping stone, we sometimes say it as a stepping stone processes before hitting the right vehicle and finding the right avenue that we're going to use to reach that 98% and succeed, or 99%, whatever you want to call it. So another thing he mentioned is when you don't have the opportunity, that is when moving about and finding the opportunity, it can be considered evolution and adaptability, because you're looking to find where the opportunity is. Once you find it and you know it can work and you're pushing it, that is when you want to double down and go all out on it. That's when being distracted by other things will hurt you versus help you. To find that avenue, you want to start with why. Why are you doing this? What problem are you here to solve? It's very rare for someone to create a solution to a problem they didn't know existed, or a problem they weren't thinking of before that answer existed. So before anything great can happen, there needs to be a state where the problem is looming and is evident to the person who's going to fix it. Like try creating something that has no problem. There's no market for it. It's not going to grow. It's just impossible. So yeah, maybe you can accidentally create something that solves a problem you didn't know existed, but rarely does that happen. It's through the pain of the problem and the understanding that if you don't find a solution, life will not change. That's where the most growth and the most ingenuity happens. Last thing I want to cover that was said is people can teach generalities, but specifics are learned through practice and failure. Don't compare yourself to others. Compare yourself with who you were yesterday, because in any industry, in any business, in any work of life, people can always teach from their view and what they found success with. And through that, they might see generalities, but there are some specifics to their own algorithm and their own authenticity that allowed them to walk a specific path in the way that they did. And you should never expect to be able to do the same, because that path is not yours. You need to find your own path. And when you find your own path, that's when you can truly start to grow and push and move forward. Or as we would say, level up, or go to the next level. But with that being said, I will leave that here. See you guys tomorrow. And if you found value in this, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment. If you didn't, leave a hate comment. That's good too. It'd be a good laugh. But anyways, see you guys tomorrow.